From the studios of Extreme Sports in Hastings, Nebraska, we present Huddle Up, a great way to start your day with all the news, weather, and sports you need, interesting interviews, and friendly conversation from two guys that go together like Scooby and Shaggy, Mike Will and Tyson Havronic.
Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Huddle Up here on Extreme Sports for this Friday, the 7th day of March. This is going to be like a breakfast buffet today. We got so much to talk about here today. The Nebraska women's basketball team, they picked up a big win last night against Illinois as the Huskers move on into the quarterfinal round today with a big matchup against UCLA. We'll tell you a lot about that coming up. Plus, we got some comments from head coach Amy Williams straight ahead. The Nebraska men's basketball team will close out the regular season tomorrow, actually on Sunday, against Iowa in a home game at Pinnacle Bank Arena. The Nebraska baseball team, the softball team, both going to be in action over the weekend. Some good news for the Hastings College women's basketball team last night. The Broncos getting a spot as an at-large team to the NAIA National Tournament. Plus, we don't have to go anywhere. That's the good news. We'll talk about that coming up here today. The softball team for the Broncos going to be in action. The Lopers going to be starting play in the MIAA tournament down in Kansas City today. And some upsets on the second day of the state high school basketball tournament down in Lincoln. So a lot on the plate here today as we welcome in Tyson from the Western Studios. Good morning. We've made it to a Friday.
We have made it to a Friday, and yeah, you mentioned the breakfast buffet. We've got so much to serve up here this morning. I actually had to drag over an extra chair. I ran out of space on my office desk with all the news and notes that we're going to get to here this morning, and certainly a lot of that was handicapping some horse races because we'll have Jim Schleicher coming up at 7:30 and joining us here this morning to talk some ponies and another weekend over at Fauner Park. But with all the news and notes that I've got to get to, I slid over an extra chair, so we're widening up the office here in the Western Studios this morning, and yeah, lots to get to. First off, I want to get to before I forget. Let's tip our cap quickly to Marcus Metcalf. He did some research yesterday. We were tasked. We were talking about when was the last time neither Tri-Cities schools were able to make it down to the basketball state tournament in both girls and boys. According to his research, 1956.
Wow.
Was the last time that had happened. So nearly 8 years of dominance. Little over more than that, actually.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah, more than that.
Obviously, you flunked mathematics there when you were taking it at St. Cecilia.
St. Cecilia math skills at their finest. I took 4 years of general math just to get advanced and get a diploma. You can do that. I took advantage of that loophole, and so, yeah, no shame in that. But then I went into college and passed statistics, so I don't know. Wild stuff. But yeah, 1956, last time that no Tri-City schools, girls or boys teams have made it to the state basketball tournament. Also wanted to get to you here this morning in terms of the news and notes. The full lobby, that's what I was going to mention. I have the opportunity to look at the back end numbers here on the streaming. There was people in the lobby before I even hopped on and turned things on here this morning. So they're roaring and they're ready for a fun Friday show, and we're going to deliver.
By the way, 69 years.
69 years, thank you.
Nice.
I
got my calculator out.
Nice.
So 69 years it's been since no team from Hastings, Grand Island, or Kearney has appeared in the state basketball tournament in either the boys or the girls state tournaments. No wonder I've got this week kind of off. It's been a long week because we had that snowstorm earlier in the week, so I think I've been chasing myself all week long, so it's been a busy week, but normally I'm down in Lincoln covering girls state basketball. We had a couple of area teams in, but nobody right here within the city of Hastings, Grand Island, or Kearney. So 69 years. Marcus had nothing to do yesterday, obviously.
He crunched some numbers, and he shot me a text yesterday afternoon and said, "Hey, found the answer to your show. Found the answer you had on your show." And I said, I forgot all about it.
Yeah, Marcus, you didn't have to go to that much trouble. I knew it was a hell of a long time, but I didn't know it was 1956. So anyway, that's a good research there.
Yeah.
Turn Marcus into our research analyst. It pays well, too. It pays well, too, on this staff. The Nebraska women's basketball team, they fell behind yesterday, 13-2 to Illinois. We thought it was all over. No, the Huskers were still trailing into the third quarter. They were down by 9 in the third quarter, but a big fourth quarter for the Huskers, and Nebraska beating Illinois in the second round of the Big Ten tournament last night in Indianapolis, 74-70. Brent Prince had a big game, 17 points for the Huskers. She also had 5 assists in the ball game, so Nebraska will move on. They'll play in the what is this, a semifinal round? Quarterfinal round tonight against UCLA. Then they'll play the semifinals on Saturday and the finals on Sunday if we can make it there. But the Huskers now 21-10 in the season. I saw just before we went on this morning, Nebraska has got a number 10 seed right now projected in the NCAA tournament.
Oh, 10 seed projected. I'm liking that. 10 seed in the Big Ten basketball tournament, translating over to a 10 seed in the NCAA basketball tournament. It just shows to show. And I looked up and down this quarterfinalist, man. I mean, there's not a one team that I can make a case not to be there. These are all some pretty damn good schools left. I think the Big Ten's going to have some pretty heavy representation in the NCAA basketball tournament. But you talk about Brett and what Prince was able to do last night, and it wasn't just the double-digit points. It was the buckets in absolute had-to-have clutch moments, where at times we've seen this team kind of fall short when they needed to get a basket to get back in and swing the momentum back in our favor. I mean, she knocked down a 3 to pull within one possession. And again, like I said, in a game that we had trailed by 11, and they just kind of fought and clawed, but Illinois was able to keep Nebraska at kind of an arm's length, and keep them from getting back in that game. And then Brett went just kind of in takeover mode, knocked down a 3 from the top of the key, then made a great drive inside. That gets it to a one-possession game, and after that, I mean, it was a back-and-forth battle all the way into the fourth quarter. She ends up drawing a foul, making some clutch free throws late down the stretch. Illinois misses a three-pointer. Markowski goes up, grabs the board, and that's all she wrote. I mean, that was just a fundamentally great victory. Bench energy all night was intense from the Nebraska women. So, it takes that total team effort, and I thought we saw it last night. And again, it was one of those where you wouldn't have wrote them off for sinking their heads in the first quarter. 13-2. They're not playing very good basketball, and you're thinking, oh no, here we go again. Credit Amy Williams and credit the bench for keeping that team locked in, for keeping the intensity up for the entire duration of the game, because that could have easily gone the other way, and that could have been a disaster. And if you have a disaster like that heading into the postseason, that's going to have a carryover effect. But that was a big win, and I think it's important to know, like, down the stretch, when we get to the postseason, that if we're in those tight games, we have the ability to overcome that. And I think we found another playmaker, and I thought she just shined. She signed all season long, but last night those all-freshman honors really proving that the voters got it right. Prince is going to be something extremely special for this basketball team.
So Nebraska winning last night over Illinois, 74-70. Other games from yesterday: Indiana beat Oregon, 78-62. Michigan over Washington, 66-58. Iowa wins over Michigan State, 74-61. So the schedule today in the quarterfinals, it'll get underway at 11 this morning on BTN. It'll be 9th seeded Indiana playing number 1 seed USC, followed by the number 5 seed Michigan playing the number 4 seed Maryland. Then at 5:30 today, the number 10 seed Nebraska facing the number 2 seed in UCLA. The nightcap tonight, the number 11 seed in Iowa playing the number 3 seed in Ohio State. So that's the schedule, the results from the Big Ten Conference women's basketball tournament going on this week in Indianapolis. we got a lot on the plate today, so we're gonna move on. We'll talk about the Huskers here in a little bit when we get some comments from Amy Williams. The Hastings College women's basketball team last night, Tyson, got the number 4 seed in the Kramer Quadrant, the NAIA National Tournament. In addition to that, the Broncos are also going to host first and second round games next weekend, next Friday and Saturday. So the Broncos in the national tournament, and we actually hit the home run last night as the Broncos get to host the first and second round games, and we haven't done that. They just went to this system when we went to one division for Division I and Division II, so they went to these like regional sites, and then they move on. This first time we've ever done this, that we've been at home. So next weekend, make plans to be at Lynn Farrell Arena next Friday night. We're going to play the College of the Ozarks. That's a team out of Missouri. We've got a lot of history with that team. Seems like we match up against them in the national tournament just about every year somewhere. So we've got a lot of history with the College of Ozarks. They are good. We're going to play them at 5 o'clock next Friday. The second game next Friday, we'll have LSU Shreveport against Huntington of Indiana. That one will get underway at 7. The Bronco game will be at 5, and then the 2 winners will play on Saturday at 5. The winner of that game will move on to the final site up at the Tyson Event Center in Sioux City. So the Broncos back into the national tournament. We get the number 4 seed in the Kramer Quadrant last night, and we hit the ball out of the park, so to speak, as we get to host the first and second round games next weekend. The Broncos have a great chance of maybe moving to the final site there in Sioux City. Been a while since we've been up there.
A very happy bookkeeper when it comes to the travel budget here for Extreme Sports, I'm
No
sure.
doubt.
A very happy sportscaster as well, as you were getting set to do the show mobile and kind of looking at some of the locations that we were potentially going to have to land in, and maybe would have had to do the show mobile. But more importantly, like, what an opportunity for Hastings College and an opportunity for this community to come out and show support at a national tournament stage hosted right there at the Lynn Farrell Arena. And as you mentioned, I mean, at this point, College of the Ozarks might as well be an honorary member of the GPAC with as many times as we play them. I feel like the Broncos have played them on the women's side more than some GPAC teams at times, but they have a lot of national tournament history. It has been a historically a great matchup, and so that'll be a big test right out of the gates in the very first round. But an opportunity, like you said, getting to host and putting that body of work together throughout the course of the season, and it pays off here for the Hastings College Broncos. So excited for you to get to do a first matchup, a national tournament matchup over there at the Lynn Farrell Arena at home. So a couple of firsts there for the HC women, and looking forward to next weekend for sure.
Yeah, we'll dive into that over the weekend, the history between these two teams. But, boy, it just seems like when the Broncos were making their runs back there, with national championships and making good runs throughout the national tournament. Somewhere along the line, we always ran into the College of the Ozarks. So I'll get that stuff deciphered over the weekend and have more details on that history and the rivalry between the College of the Ozarks and the Broncos coming up next week. Did have a chance. Broncos had a watch party last night as they waited for the national tournament bracket to be released. Had a chance to talk with Hastings head coach Gina Douglas.
You got to be happy to be back in the national tournament.
Yeah, we're really happy just to be back, obviously. It's been 5 years, and since they combined divisions, we knew it would be tough to get back to this point. But, really happy to be here and obviously really happy to be hosting.
You get the opening round, the first 2 rounds. How big is that for us?
Really big. We travel enough during the year. And if we had to go travel, we talked about we're just going to go wherever we need to go to try to go win 2 games. But, it's always nice to be at home and, just kind of have the comfort of being at home and not living out of the hotel for a few days. And then hopefully we'll have really good fan support as well and have a big crowd to play in front of.
You get a number 4 overall seed. You guys had a great end of the season, made a run into the semifinals of the conference tournament. Probably had something to do with that.
Yeah, I would think so. I think we won 10 out of our last 11, and the one game we lost was at Dordt, and we had a chance last 30 seconds of the game to go win it. And so I think that probably had a big role in it. But you had to go win some games and put ourselves in this position to get here, and I'm really happy for us, and hopefully we can keep it rolling now.
You play the College of the Ozarks. We've had a lot of history with that basketball team.
Yeah, I don't know much about them this year just because we haven't seen them for a few years. I know historically they've been really, really good. And my history with them just here is they've been really good, and it's been tough games. So, obviously we'll start watching film tonight and tomorrow on them and kind of see what they look like. But just historically, I know that it's, Hastings College Ozarks has been big games in the past.
You just crunch everything down in the next 24 hours and get back on the practice floor?
Yeah, and we have spring break here as well, and so we'll give them a couple days off and then bring them back. And probably not great timing with spring break, but it is what it is. And hopefully they can just kind of focus on basketball for a little bit, and just like it's just like Christmas break. Act like they're professional basketball players for a little while and focus on that and try to go play well and get us to Sioux City.
After we lost in the semifinals of the conference tournament, were the girls still excited that they knew they had another life, so to speak?
Yeah, I think we knew that we were in the national tournament. The big question is if we'd have a chance to host or not. And we all kind of thought, gosh, if we won at Dordt, we'd have a really good chance. So we didn't know with the loss where that would put us, but just based on who put bids in and RPIs and everything like that, we thought we had a chance. And so it was just kind of good to see that it actually came true.
All right, that's Gina Douglas following the announcement last night. The Broncos are in the NAIA National Basketball Tournament, and we get to host the first and second round games next week at Lynn Farrell Arena. College of the Ozarks will be the first opponent for the Broncos next Friday at 5. And then if we win, we'll play either LSU Shreveport and Huntington of Indiana in the second game on Saturday. So obviously we'll have more on that coming up next week, but some good vibes coming out of Hastings College last night. Last time that we made it to Sioux City to play in the national tournament was the COVID year. Hastings had that great year. We were 30-3 on the season. I think ranked number 1 or number 2 in the nation. We had the top overall seed in the national tournament. We were on the practice floor at another gym in Sioux City getting ready for a 12 o'clock or 1 o'clock matchup. I was having lunch at the time, and they came out with the announcement that the tournament had been canceled.
Yep.
Yeah, that was probably the best one of the better teams that Hastings has had since we made the national tournament championship runs back there in the early 2000s. Had a great chance to win the national championship 5 years ago, and then we didn't even get on the floor. They canceled the tournament. That was the COVID right in the midst, right at the beginning of COVID, and we didn't even get to play a game.
Yep, I remember as that whole thing progresses. And I remember we did the state tournament that year for boys basketball, and I had the nightcap, the very last game. And I'm checking my phone because everything around the capital city, everything around the nation was being shut down. And the referees were having a discussion. They talked with Tino. They talked with some other guys and the opposing coaches for, I think it was BRLD at the time. It was a great basketball game. Glad we were able to squeeze that one in. But Tino told me later, he said there was serious discussions of it being shut down. And it was no post game, no nothing. Whistles blew. Game was over. And they're like, everybody out. And they literally locked the Pinnacle Bank arena right behind me. And I remember that year very vividly. And national tournaments then soon followed, and they were canceled. And then it'd taken a long time to get back to that stage. So excited for the Broncos.
All right, so that's the latest on the Broncos. Again, you're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports. If you'd like to join us, anything on your mind today, either sports related or not, we'll We'll entertain your call. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. 402-834-1330. Drop us a call. Drop us a line if you'd like on our social media sites. We're monitoring all the social media sites. Give us a post there. Join in on our breakfast discussion here today. Still lots more to come. It's coming up on 7:20 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
$7:19, now 7:20 here on the West Side Studios. We are getting set for the dumbest thing we do in America coming up on Saturday night into Sunday. It's the year 2025, and yes, my friends, we're still changing our clocks. We spring forward this weekend as clocks will move up an hour for daylight savings time. But will it be the last time we set our clocks in Nebraska? Earlier this year, Nebraska lawmakers took the first step to ending the twice-a-year switching of the clocks back and forth 1 hour. But whether it is by shifting to year-round, to standard time, or daylight saving time hasn't yet been decided. Both proposals are on the table to be debated later this month. However, don't expect the clocks to change anytime soon. Even if a time change is approved at the state level, the law would not go into effect until the states on the Cornhusker State's border adopt a similar law. On the health watch, the flu. According to the South Heartland District Health Department, this is the most intense flu season in 15 years across the United States, with influenza-related illness outpacing COVID for the first time since the pandemic. South Heartland District Health Department Executive Director Michelle Beaver said as of the end of February, 55 flu-related deaths have been reported this season across Nebraska, 5 of which have been confirmed as residents of the South Heartland District Health Department, comprised of Adams, Clay, Nuckolls, and Webster counties. All were adults over the age of 55 and all had underlying health conditions. And back to the state capitol we go. As somewhat expected, State Senator Lauren Lippincott of Central City made his winner-take-all election bill his priority bill for the session yesterday, as senators near the halfway point of the 90-day session. Republicans have tried to reverse the split vote system nearly 20 times since the legislature adopted it 35 years ago. The bill this year has the backing of President Donald Trump, who pressured lawmakers last year to change the state system just 1 week ahead of the election. Governor Jim Pillen has also emailed supporters asking them to urge lawmakers to advance the legislation, which is still stuck in committee. And should the bill fail, senators have a backup plan, as they have hinted at pulling the referendum measure from committee in hopes that voters will approve the change in the 2026 general election. 7:22, let's head back over to the East Side Studios. Mike, what's going down in sports?
Well, Brent Prince scored a team-high 17 points, and Jessica Petrie scored 9 points in the fourth quarter to help Nebraska rally from a 9-point third-quarter deficit to beat Illinois 74-70 last night in the second round of the Big Ten Women's Basketball Tournament in Indianapolis. Prince had 6 of 10 shots from the field, including all 3 of her three-point field goal attempts. She also added 5 assists. Nebraska hit 49% of their shots in the game, including 8 of 16 from long range. They also connected on 10 of 12 free throws, including 5 in the decisive fourth quarter. Nebraska now 21-10 in the season and will face number 2 seed UCLA in the quarterfinals today at 5:30. The Bruins beat the Huskers 91-54 earlier this season in Los Angeles. The Nebraska men's basketball team will close out the regular season on Sunday with a home game against Iowa. The Huskers are 17-13 in the season, 7-12 in the conference, and lost to the Hawkeyes 97-87 in overtime earlier this season. Tip-off will be at 11:30 on Fox. The Nebraska baseball team has juggled their 3-game series with Washington scheduled for this weekend. The two teams will now play a doubleheader on Saturday, beginning at 1. They'll play a single game on Sunday, beginning at noon. The Nebraska softball team will host the Big Red Spring Fling this weekend at Bowlin Stadium. The Huskers will play Northern Iowa tomorrow at 11, followed by a game against Northern Colorado at 1:30. Then on Sunday, Nebraska will play Northern Iowa at 4, followed by a game against South Dakota State at 6:30. Hastings College women's basketball team will be the number 4 seed in the Kramer Quadrant and will host first and second round games next weekend. The Broncos will battle the College of the Ozarks in the first round next Friday at 5. Second game will feature LSU Shreveport against Huntington of Indiana beginning at 7. 2 winners will play on Saturday at 5. 4 other teams in the Great Plains Athletic Conference will also play in the women's tournament. They include Briarcliff, Dakota Wesleyan, Dordt, and Northwestern. 5 teams in the conference will compete in the men's national tournament. They include Concordia, Dakota Wesleyan, Dordt, Morningside, and Northwestern. Hastings College softball team will play 4 games in the Branson Grand Slam this weekend. The Broncos will play Evangela, Missouri, and Our Lady of the Lake today. Then tomorrow, Hastings will play William Baptist and Mission of Missouri. The Nebraska Kearney basketball teams will begin play today in the MIAA tournament down in Kansas City. The men will play Pittsburgh State at noon, and the women will play Washburn at 6. 2 top seeds were beaten yesterday on the second day of the Girls State High School basketball tournament in Lincoln. In Class C2, Guardian Angels Central Catholic beat top-seeded Johnson Brock 53-38. And in Class D2, Wilcox Hildreth surprised number 1 seed Shelton 49-40. Winners yesterday included Omaha Scott, Bennington, Gretna East, and Waverly. In Class B, Guardian Angels Central Catholic, Elkhorn Valley, Crofton, and Oakland Craig. Won in Class C2, Wilcox Hildreth, Dorchester, Ball City Sacred Heart, and Archangels Catholic were the winners in Class D2. Semifinals in all 6 classes are scheduled for today. The championship games will be held on Saturday. That's an update on your sports headlines. 7:26 now on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
We made it to Friday, but before we get to the weekend, we have to get rid of the snow around the area this morning. It will eventually clear out. Accumulations less than an inch around the area. A little more to the north. It'll be breezy today with winds out of the north, 15 to 20 miles per hour with a gust up to 30, a high of 37. Overnight tonight, decreasing clouds, a low of 20. Then the weekend comes and plenty of sunshine. 52 on Saturday, 63 on Sunday, and 74 on Monday.
Right now, we've got north winds at 17, cloudy skies, a little bit of snow around the area this morning. It is 33 at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, located at 208 South Burlington, Suite 101 in Hastings. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating scalp treatments, and advanced Glow 2 facials, along with ozone therapy and frequency healing. Join us for our spring open house on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy free tours, 20% off all bookings, exciting giveaways, and a chance to win a $100 gift card for the first 30 product purchases. Become a member for 24-hour access to amenities like the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge, plus discounts on services and products. Visit us on Facebook to learn more. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Truly holistic care designed for you.
I'm John Butler, Funeral Director and owner at Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center in Hastings.
And I'm Nikki Butler, the Advanced Funeral Planning Specialist. Whether you choose a traditional service, cremation, or a unique memorial service, our experienced staff is here to help guide you through every step. Visit us at lbvfh.com to learn more about our services and how we can support you.
Livingston Butler Volland Funeral Home and Cremation Center. We are here when your need is greatest.
Hamilton has been providing IT solutions for businesses across the state of Nebraska for more than 3 decades. We know that Nebraska businesses are a driving force of support for the communities in which we live and work. We keep them connected and protected by delivering cybersecurity, hosted phones, and managed IT. We are grateful to be part of our Nebraska communities and to support their technology needs.
More information at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Get ready, race fans. Cam Raceway is teaming up with Extreme Sports for an electrifying season of high-speed, dirt-slinging, adrenaline-pumping action. Every race night, we're bringing you live video coverage straight from the track, so you won't miss a single lap, pass, or photo finish. From non-wing warriors to cage karts, flat karts, and the A-class wing beasts, we've got it all. There's nothing like the roar of the engines, the smell of burning rubber, and the rush of dirt flying action right in front of you. So get to the track and experience it live. But if you can't make it, don't sweat. Extreme Sports has you covered. Buckle up, because this season is going to be fast, fierce, and unforgettable. Make sure you like and follow Extreme Sports on Facebook to get all the latest updates, and we will see you at the track.
Again, you're waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning. This is Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, whether you're watching and listening to us online at our website at x-streamsports.com, maybe on your smartphone with our free mobile app, maybe on your smart speaker, Roku TV, Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, wherever you're listening to us and watching us this morning. Thanks for joining us on this Friday. It's Friday at 7:30, and you know what that means.
They're moving in the gate.
And down the such they come in the Kentucky Derby, and Barbaro is running away. It's Edgar Prado aboard, and Barbaro is going to win this Derby by 6 lengths. Blue Best had second. From far back, Steppenwolf came on to be third.
All right, another Friday, so we bring in our racing expert, Jim Slacker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network to join us, talk to some ponies here today. Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
Great to talk to you again. Another week of racing up at the Fowler Park. We're going to have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday racing this week. How'd last weekend treat you, Jimmy?
Last week was actually pretty good. Picked up a few winners. Actually made a little money. I hope everybody else made some too.
That's what it's all about, making a little cash. In fact, I just pulled your picks out for today. I might make a brief appearance of the track today, so I've got your picks right here in hand, and I'm ready to go, buddy.
Well, if you're looking for that, like I said, I really like one today, and I think we're going to get some odds on it. And I'll just start right off with that. I really like Tiffany's Ferrari in the fourth race. I was debating on whether I should make that my best bet or my long shot of the day, because it has starting odds of 10-1, and that's where my money's going today to play. If I had one horse to play, it's the only horse I'd play.
Again, Jim joining us here on this Friday morning as we talk track here for a moment. I got out to the track this past Sunday, won the second race, hit my exacta, put a little $40 in my pocket, got through about halfway through the rest of the racing day before I had to dive back into the fun, so to speak. I found out, Jim, I'm really good at picking first and third, second and third, any combination other than first and second when it comes to exotics. But let's talk today at the track and heading over to the sixth race. One of my favorites, Diamond Go Girl, is in the field. Do you expect Diamond Go Girl here in this race, or is there another horse that maybe we want to throw in with Diamond Go Girl? Talk about the sixth.
Well, the sixth race, I do like Diamond Go Girl coming out of the Larry Donlin barn. She'll be making her first start this year, but she was successful last year. She's got a lot of speed on the front end, and I don't know. That's who I'm making my best bet of the day is Diamond Go Girl. Like I said, she's looks to be ready to go. She's had some nice works, and like I said, I think that's a good play.
Jim, anything has surprised you out of the first couple of weeks racing at Fauner? What have you seen so far?
Well, some of the things that have kind of surprised me, I mean, they've always been on the top of the leaderboards, but you got to look at the trainer standings this year. Mark Hibden comes up from out of Louisiana and always has his horses ready to go. He's always battling for the lead, but Mark is winning at almost a 40% clip. He's had 13 wins of his 29 starters. That's just unheard of for any track. And, that's one thing that really catches out in my mind. And he's teamed up with the jockey that he brought with him. And Cardoso, he's 12 for 27. And when you're looking at jockeys like that, you have to bear in mind these guys, you got to put them in the exotic somehow. Even if they don't look that great on paper, they've got their horses ready to run. And like David Cardoso, he can get one out of the gate. And right now we're running a lot of 4 furlong races. So you've got to bear in mind that he's a player in every race he's in.
You mentioned Cardoso. He is aboard the one horse. He's aboard the favorite in the 9th on Saturday, the Octagon Stakes. That is General Shipman. I think, like you just said, you have to throw the one horse in any combination of exotics you play in that Octagon Stakes just because of the hot start that Cardoso has got off to. But let's handicap the Octagon Stakes a little bit. Who else in that field could be potential big money for you on Saturday?
Well, when we look at the Ogatal Stakes this year, it's a race for 3-year-olds and up Nebraska breds. That is one of the best fields that have been put together for quite some time here as far as overall quality. General Shipman, he broke his maiden at Prairie Meadows, first asking 2 years ago, turned around and won $100,000 stakes, and that's an open class stakes over in Iowa. He went on to this last year changing trainers from Casey Schleiss to the top trainer in the nation in Steve Asmussen. He started 4 times, had 2 firsts, a second, and a third. But now this year, a little different story. He's run down at Delta, he's run down at Houston, and he's failed to beat a horse. He's been in some really good competition. But I look at this race as kind of interesting. The Race Lens is who I get all my information from for my past performances. They pick him as a 4-star pick. I don't think I've seen a 4-star pick for a long time. I feel a little different about that, though. General Shipman's the unknown. He's coming up here. He's on a bull ring. He run on a bull ring down in Delta, but he didn't run that great. His last 2 races are a little suspect. And now he gets up here, and it doesn't look like it's that easy a competition for him. Horse I really like is, there's actually 2 of them, and they both come out of the same barn of Jason Wise. We're looking at going into there. Caleb on the Go. Caleb on the Go was very impressive in his first out this year. And then we have his other horse in there, Anchorline, that was running down at Remington Park and very successful running against open competition. So I don't see this as just a walkover. I think it's an opportunity to make some money. Whether General Shipman wins or not, that's debatable. I think he's suspect to get beat.
Jim, have you talking about the quality of horses a little bit? Is the quality of horses up maybe this year than what we have seen in the past at Fauner?
The quality is up, and also the numbers is up, and that makes a big difference too. It's a lot easier to handicap a 6 furlong race that's got 6 horses in than one that's got 10 horses in. The full fields gives a lot of different variations to what can happen. But yeah, we've had some good trainership in this year with horses that we haven't seen, and that's all indicative of our purses going up, and the crowds have been great. So I wouldn't be surprised to see if purses go up again here pretty soon.
Again, Jim Schleicher joining us here this morning as we talk all things Fauner Park and horse racing. And speaking of all things horse racing, Road to Kentucky Derby, Jim, it's going to go through Tampa here this weekend with the Tampa Bay Derby. Small 7-horse field, some opportunity, I think, to make some money when it comes to the simulcasting here. Am I crazy when I look at the Tampa Bay Derby for wanting to throw that 20-1 6-horse in there? Is Naughty Rascal contemplating throwing him into a few exotics? Is that a wild play out of left field, or am I onto something here?
Not necessarily. I think this horse or this race is open too. I mean, Brad Cox is coming in with the favorite in Patch Adams, obviously, but now we start looking at there's a couple other horses in here that come in from Chad Brown, and both of those had run in the juvenile, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, a $2 million purse. One of them had kind of a bad trip in there, didn't break very good. If he breaks better, it'll look a lot different in there. But I don't know. I think a horse I'm kind of looking at if I'm playing a long shot is Bordur, and coming in from Mark Cassie, comes out of Oaklawn Park, and he just won an allowance race down there. He hasn't run against the competition of these others, but I really think that's my opportunity to try to make money is with that one.
Yeah, we're talking with Jim Slacker of the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network as we get you sent for another weekend of racing, not only at Fauner Park, but across the nation. You can always bet most of these races on the simulcast up at Fauner Park. So, like I said, Jim, I might make my debut for 2025 at the track today. So if I've got a couple of 20s in my pocket, where do I go first?
Well, if you're coming up today, like I said, I'm looking at the race 4, and I'm looking at Tiffany's Ferrari. Like I said, if you go back, if you get an opportunity to go to Fauner Park's website, bring up replays, look at the race that she had last time out. It was terrible. She broke with Juilliard's Honor, which Juilliard's Honor is running this weekend. That horse has a lot of speed. She broke right on top with it. But what you don't show in the form, it shows that at first call she was 7th. Well, the first call after the break is coming into the turn, and Tiffany's Ferrari got pinched back, so it shows her running 7th, 6th, not up with the leaders. It's very deceiving on how she was actually running. And that'd be where my money'd go, Mike, is Tiffany's Ferrari in the 4th.
Right after I stop at the beer stand. I'll stop at the beer stand first, Jim. Then it's up to bet race 4. That's going to be my agenda today.
Well, I think you've got your priorities pretty straight there.
All right, so we're on Tiffany's Ferrari in the 4th race, and your best bet today is a Diamond Go Girl in race number 6. So if you're heading up to a Fauner today, actually gets underway at 3 o'clock. There's a couple of tips for you. The 4th race, the number 2 horse. The 6th race, the number 5 horse. And we'll see what happens today. Anything else going on that people need to know, Jim, maybe as we get ready for the big stretch run toward the Kentucky Derby? Anything else going on nationally?
Well, as far as leading up to the Kentucky Derby, this week's pretty light. Now next week we'll get a full slate of prep races for that. We'll see Oaklawn Park will be running. We'll see the East Coast, West Coast tracks. They'll start firing up pretty good. We're about 6 weeks out, and this will be a lot of these horses' last race before the Derby to try to qualify. So, yeah, next week looks to be the big weekend.
All right, so it sounds good. Jim, have yourself a good weekend, a profitable weekend, hopefully, at the track, and we'll catch you again next Friday, all right?
Well, that sounds good. And I'm going to throw out one more bet for everybody before we go on, because if they're out there Saturday for watching the Ogatal, get there early. There's some really good racing on tap. But Saturday, last couple of weeks ago, my best bet was Axel Steele, and that was in the bold accent. I'll come back with Axel Steele on Saturday. That was another horse that had some problems, and Axel Steele should win that race. The 7th race on Saturday, pretty easy. So I hope we gave you a few pointers today, and if you're looking for other things, other winners, check us out on Facebook, Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. We're a Facebook group, and all my picks will be on there for every day of the racing out here. And so hope to see you out here, and hope everybody has a good time.
Jim, appreciate the time you spend with us each and every week, and hopefully we can get something going here this weekend.
Well, thanks, guys, and let's make some money.
All right. Jim Slacker from the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. Again, you can always follow him on the Facebook. He's got all of his picks on there and all the important racing information. If you're into betting horses, I know a lot of you are, just follow his Facebook group, Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network, and he'll give you all the latest info. I've got my hot picks right here, Tyson. Hot picks right here. I only have to get there right at 3 o'clock. So his best bet is down there in the race 4. So if I'm a little late getting there, there's no rush to the window today. I can stop at the beer stand and get that quick beer, and then I'll go up to the betting window.
Then you can go to the betting window and try to put some money in your pocket before that fourth race hits. I'm one of those that I have success very early on, and I can put some money in my pocket, and then I can play on some fawner funds for a while. That's always a little bit more fun experience for me. So I try to do some good handicapping right out of the gates. Like I said, last Sunday I was able to do that. Hit right on the second. And then I'm thinking, okay, good. I've got a little stretch, got some play money. Hopefully we can build on that. We didn't, but we still had fun. And like Jim always says, if you head out to Fawner Park, you'll have fun. You can bet on it.
Your horse racing is much like your golf game. You're good early, and then you start to fade. And there's probably a couple.
I wonder why.
Yeah, there's probably a couple of reasons for that. You're good early. You're not so good like a quarter of the way through the event. So. Your horse racing handicapping is much like your golf game.
We start getting a little bit more. We start getting a little bit more desperate. We start thinking, these long shots will play ball. It's like when you get stuck behind two trees, right? And you're thinking, okay, I can't hit the green from 95 yards out in the middle of the fairway. That's my golf game, right? But then you get stuck behind two trees, and you're like, dude, I can make this shot. I can do this. Just hit this ball low and through the trees, put a little 7-iron and just blade it. I can get through these trees. Yeah, I get really creative the later on in the day we go, and I think, those Belgian brews have a lot to do with that. But it's always a lot of fun. So, enjoy getting to talk with Jim each and every Friday. And like you mentioned, one of my favorites last year, my cash cow, Diamond Go Girl. He's racing in that 6th, so that's where I would point your attention to. And if you want to swing by the Western Studios on your way out to the park, I'll drop you a 20 and send some picks, and you can make some bets for me.
Well, I can do that.
Yeah, I figured so.
I can do that. If I was behind those two trees in a golf game, I would say I'm not going to shoot this shot low to get out of the trees. I'd say I'll bounce it off of that limb up there, and it'll bounce off of the other tree, and maybe it might bounce onto the green. Now, I'm not looking to clear the trees. I'm using the trees as my advantage because that's where my shot's going to go anyway. And if there's any water around that green, it's going to go in the damn water anyway, so it don't make any difference. That's how my golf game goes. So anyway, if you'd like to chime in today, still got time. 402-834-1330 is our telephone number. 402-834-1330. Leave us a message or two on the social media sites. Love to have you part of our conversation here today. We've talked with Gina Douglas at Hastings College. We've talked with Jim Slacker for the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. Let's hear some comments from Amy Williams this morning. Again, Nebraska picking up a big win last night. Second round of the Big Ten Conference Tournament in Indianapolis. They beat Illinois by the score of 74-70. Brent Prince scored a season-high 17 for the Huskers last night. She also had 5 assists. Alexis Markowski, she was held to just 9 points and 4 rebounds in the ball game last night, but the coach says Markowski still had a big part in this win.
Make no mistake, you might want to say Lex was 9 and 4, but Alexis Markowski is the reason we won the game. And I said before the game, her superpower is an incredible ability to instill belief. She believes in herself at a very high level, but her ability to instill belief in everybody around her it's something I've never been around. I really wish I could bottle it up and save it for when she's not in my program anymore, which I don't even want to think about. But she had us believing heading into that fourth quarter that we were going to win that game. And So I have no doubt that her influence was all over this game, but we just had a lot of other people. Petra Bozan, I think, stepped up and really contributed points in the paint when we needed them the most. And I think yesterday's game that allowed us to play our bench significant minutes really built some confidence up and down our roster to be able to step in and make the contributions that we really needed tonight.
Now, Illinois beat Nebraska just 2 weeks ago, 77-68. So we asked the coach what was the difference in this one.
Yeah, we wanted to do a better job of trying to protect the paint, and I'm not sure that we did that for 40 minutes tonight. They still got in there, got some and ones, a few too many free throws down in the paint and stuff. But I thought that down the stretch in the fourth quarter, we did a little bit better job of keeping Bostic and McKenzie kind of under wraps.
And the coach says her team just made some gritty plays down the stretch to secure this win.
Logan Nisley grabbing a couple offensive rebounds down the stretch. I thought we had a baseline inbounds play that we were really kind of looking for, is designed to get a backside up screen, but we were thinking get it to the ball side, get it in, and maybe run a little more clock to a different action. And Callan Hake had the courage to be able to look for Jess Petrie on the weak side for that layup that kind of stretched the lead out there, gave us kind of a little cushion and some confidence. I just thought gritty, tough, courageous plays where our team really trusted each other, and, that's the biggest explanation.
Huskers now 21-10 in the season. They've got a tough one today as they take on UCLA. That's the number 2 ranked team in the country. I think the last check, UCLA in the quarterfinals today, 5:30 starting time in Indy. UCLA beat Nebraska earlier this year, 91-54. Huskers win. They'll play again tomorrow, hopefully in the semifinals. Finals will be on Friday, and then into the NCAA tournament coming up here. So Huskers right now, as I saw it this morning, with the number 10 seed in the NCAA tournament. But, boy, that'd be great if we can upset UCLA today. That will enhance our chances for the big dance on the women's side.
Oh, that's a lock on the women's side, and not only a lock, I think that also improves the seeding on the women's side. But also like I said earlier, with the win over Illinois, what that does in terms of confidence as this team moves through the postseason, you can't measure that. And the way they fought back and the way they got back into that game and won. And he talked about the energy, did Coach Williams. Like I said, I think that just proves or that's just going to provide us with a spark moving forward, and hopefully we'll see some positive results.
All right, 7:51, waking up with Mike and Tyson here this morning on Huddle Up on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning news update on Extreme Sports.
$7:52 here at the West Side Studios, and come Monday morning it'll be 8:52 because we spring forward this weekend as clocks will move up an hour for daylight saving time. But will it be the last time we set our clocks in this state? Earlier this year, Nebraska lawmakers took the initial steps to ending the twice-a-year switching of the clocks back and forth 1 hour, but whether is that by shifting year-round to standard time or daylight saving time has yet to be decided. Both proposals are on the table to be debated later this month. However, we're not expecting the clocks to change anytime soon, because even if a time change is approved at the state level, the law would not go into effect until states on the Cornhusker State's border adopt a similar law. On the Health Watch, the flu. According to the South Heartland District Health Department, this is the most intense flu season in 15 years across the United States, with influenza-related illness outpacing COVID for the first time since the pandemic. South Heartland District Health Department Executive Director Michelle Beaver said as of the end of February, 55 flu-related deaths have been reported this season across Nebraska, 5 of which have been confirmed as residents of the South Heartland Health District, which is comprised of Adams, Clay, Nuckolls, and Webster counties. All were adults over the age of 55, and all had underlying health conditions. Back at the state capitol, as somewhat expected, State Senator Lauren Lippincott of Central City made his winner-take-all election bill his priority piece of legislation for the session, as senators near the halfway point of the 90-day legislative session. Republicans have tried to reverse the split vote system nearly 20 times since the legislature adopted it nearly 35 years ago. The bill this year has the backing of President Donald Trump, who pressured lawmakers just ahead of the general election, in fact, 1 week before the general election, which ultimately failed to even garner enough support for a special session. Governor Jim Pillen also emailing supporters asking them to urge lawmakers to advance the legislation, which is still stuck in committee. However, should the bill fail to advance out of committee or fail altogether, senators do have a backup plan, as they have hinted at pulling the referendum measure from committee in hopes that the voters will approve the change in the 2026 general election. It is now coming up on 7:55. We'll head over to the East Side Studios for a quick check on sports with Mike Will.
Well, the Hastings College women's basketball team will be the number 4 seed in the Kramer Quadrant and will host first and second round games next Friday and Saturday. Broncos will battle the College of the Ozarks in the first round next Friday at 5. Second game will feature LSU Shreveport against Huntington of Indiana beginning at 7. 2 winners will play on Saturday at 5. 4 other teams from the Great Plains Athletic Conference will play in the Women's National Tournament: Briar Cliff, Dakota Wesleyan, Dordt, and Northwestern. 5 teams from the conference will compete in the men's tournament. They include Concordia, Dakota Wesleyan, Dordt, Morningside, and Northwestern. And 2 top seeds were beaten yesterday on the second day of the Girls State High School basketball tournament in Lincoln. In Class C2, Guardian Angels Central Catholic beat top-seeded Johnson Brock 53-38. In Class D2, Wilcox Hildreth surprised number 1 seed Shelton 49-40. Winners yesterday included Omaha Scott, Bennington, Gretna East, and Waverly. In Class B, Guardian Angels Central Catholic, Elkhorn Valley, Crofton, and Oakland Craig won in Class C2. Wilcox Hildreth, Dorchester, Falls City Sacred Heart, and Archangels Catholic were the winners in Class D2. Semifinals in all 6 classes are scheduled for today. The championship games are going to be held on Saturday. To check in your sports headlines at 7:56 on Extreme Sports.
It's time for a morning weather update on Extreme Sports with Chief Meteorologist Tim Jones.
We made it to Friday, but before we get to the weekend, we have to get rid of the snow around the area this morning. It will eventually clear out. Accumulations less than an inch around the area, a little more to the north. It'll be breezy today with winds out of the north, 15 to 20 miles per hour with a gust up to 30, a high of 37. Overnight tonight, decreasing clouds, a low of 20. Then the weekend comes and plenty of sunshine. 52 on Saturday, 63 on Sunday, and 74 on Monday.
Right now we've got north winds at 17, cloudy with some light snow in the area this morning. It is 33 at Extreme Sports.
Accessible and affordable holistic care is just around the corner at Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center, located at 208 South Burlington, Suite 101 in Hastings. Experience soothing massages, rejuvenating scalp treatments, and advanced glow 2 facials, along with ozone therapy and frequency healing. Join us for our spring open house on March 29th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Enjoy free tours, 20% off all bookings, exciting giveaways, and a chance to win a $100 gift card for the first 30 product purchases. Become a member for 24-hour access to amenities like the infrared sauna, hydro massage, and cryo lounge, plus discounts on services and products. Visit us on Facebook to learn more. Bamboo Spa and Wellness Center. Truly holistic care designed for you.
Conant Auto Care is the trusted name in automotive repair and maintenance services in Hastings. We're a gold-certified Napa Auto Care Center. Our ASE-certified technicians have the Blue Seal of Excellence, receive continuous training, and are committed to providing the best service your vehicle can get. Whether it's preventative maintenance, major repairs, or just an oil change, Conant Auto Care is here for you.
Extreme Sports has been bringing you the exclusive home of Hastings College Athletics, and we're just getting started. Thanks to our incredible sponsors and your support, Extreme Sports 2 has been a huge success. And now we're excited to announce the launch of Extreme Sports 3. With Extreme Sports 3, you'll get even more local sports coverage. Plus, 24/7 access to Sports by Line, where you'll hear the best in national sports talk. Whether it's Hastings College, high school action, or the latest from around the sports world, we've got it covered across all 3 streams. And don't forget, when we're not broadcasting games, join us weekday mornings from 7 to 8 a.m. for Huddle Up with Mike Will and Tyson Havronik. It's the perfect way to start your day with sports, news, weather, and great local interviews. So tune in, check out all 3 streams, and stay with us for even more sports coverage coming soon. Thank you to our sponsors for making it all possible, and to you, our listeners, for keeping Extreme Sports strong.
All right, back here on Huddle Up Extreme Sports for this Friday. Again, the Girls State High School basketball tournament continues today in Lincoln. You're going to have semifinal matchups today. Minden is going to be playing Milford today at 10:45 in Class C1. That'll be at Pinnacle Bank Arena. Minden picking up a win over Scotus in the opening round the other day, while Milford won over Arlington. Also in action today from the area, Alma is going to be playing Pender. That in the semifinals in Class D1. That'll be one of the first games up today. 9 o'clock at the Devaney Center. Alma knocking off Superior on Wednesday, while Pender beat Howells Dodge. Wilcox Hildreth is going to be playing today in the 6 o'clock game at the Devaney Center. They're going to be playing Dorchester. Dorchester picked up an exciting 1-point win over Silver Lake yesterday, 38-37. While Wilcox Hildreth knocked off the number 1 seed, the Shelton Bulldogs, by 9 yesterday. So that'll be a good matchup tonight in Class D2 at 6 o'clock at the Devaney Center. So those are some of the area teams in action today on day number 3 of the State High School basketball tournament down in Lincoln.
Day number 3 of the high school basketball tournament. Day number 3 of the Big Ten basketball tournament on the women's side. Again, that's your TV guide tonight. That's the show in town. Women's basketball, 5:30, Nebraska UCLA. Huskers trying to pull off the big upset bid, and certainly that should be a fun watch. And hopefully it's a fun watch for you today over at the track. We had a lot of comments coming in today, not via Facebook, but from all over the place. YouTube, Twitch, you name it. A lot of people hopping on, and I'm thinking that 7:30 segment with Jim is starting to become pretty popular because we've got Ty chiming in with good luck over at the track. Muggy13 from Twitch says, let's go make some money. And, of course, Jim reminding us that you can get all of his selections for Fauner Park on Facebook at the Nebraska Thoroughbred Racing Network. So appreciate all those who chimed in, all those who viewed the show, listened to the show from whatever streaming platform that tickles your fancy. We appreciate having each and every one of you with us each weekday morning here on Huddle Up.
Yeah, if you want to listen to the show and get those picks again, maybe you were sitting at your breakfast table devouring your eggs and your bacon this morning. If you want to listen to the picks again, you can. Just go to any one of our social media sites. You'll see the podcast section. Click on that, and you'll hear the show again. Even if you're on the Roku TV app, there's a spot that you can listen to the show again in its entirety today. 2 or 3 times if you'd like. We'd appreciate that. So anyway, we got a big weekend coming up with all kinds of sports activity, and certainly next week is shaping up to be a busy week again with the national tournaments. The men's conference tournament will get underway next week for the Big Ten teams. We'll see if the Huskers are in. I guess there's an outside chance that Nebraska could fall even out of the Big Ten tournament. A lot of things would have to happen. Mm-hmm. But there is a chance Nebraska loses to Iowa on Sunday. Cards fall, right? The Huskers could be on the outside looking in. That certainly wouldn't be a Monday we're going to be looking forward to talking about, huh?
That's disaster scenario, I think, for the Nebraska basketball team. But, you know, I mean, you had your opportunities. You had to hammer it home, and they haven't yet. We'll see if we can't secure that all-important win against our rivals on Iowa coming up on Saturday. And like you mentioned, it's shaping up to be a busy week, not only on the sports front for next week, but we've already got some guests penciled in. We're looking forward to chatting with the Hastings Mayor Jay Beckby. He is delivering his State of the City address on Monday, so we'll get a recap on that and a good conversation with all things Hastings from our newly elected mayor. And Tim Stroman has sent a text. He's on spring break, so he's got the week off. He wants to talk some AC baseball coming up on the show, so he's got an open invite to talk some Pats baseball on spring break. I'm looking forward to spring break as well. I didn't even here's like the teacher mentality. Like, I get so locked into lesson plans and what we're going to be working on, and I was like, all right, we're going to be focusing on basketball next week. We were getting set and getting geared up for the March Madness basketball tournament, and with my news and sports students over there, and I said, well, we'll see you next week. And they looked at me and they're like, the hell you will. And I'm like, oh, is it spring break? Is that already upon us? Spring break time is here, so a week off for me as well from the teaching front. So excited to drum up some material here on the huddle up side of things.
God, what are you gonna do all week? What are you gonna do all week with a day?
I'll find
5 days off. Unbelievable. Anyway, have yourself a good weekend. We'll do it again Monday morning at 7 here on Extreme Sports.
You've been listening to Huddle Up on Extreme Sports, Central Nebraska's new home for sports. Join us